Since the days of Pong and Pac-Man, companies have battled for the title of gaming's best console. Many have tried and failed, like Atari and Sega, but two giants rose above the rest. Blue versus Green, Kratos versus Master Chief, PlayStation versus Xbox. It all started with a betrayal, grew into a rivalry, and became one of the biggest fights in gaming history. This is the evolution of gaming's greatest battle, PlayStation versus Xbox. Funnily enough, Sony's rise in gaming started with a huge betrayal by Nintendo. In 1988, Sony wasn't ready to make its own console, so it partnered with Nintendo to build a CD-ROM add-on for the SNES. 2 years later, in 1991, the PlayStation was unveiled. But just one day after the announcement, Nintendo ditched Sony for Philips, a decision they'd soon regret. Furious, Sony's president, Norio Oga, told his team to turn the PlayStation into its own console. And just 3 years later, the PlayStation was born, ready to take on Nintendo. Released in December 1994 in Japan, Sony's console was a revelation. It was soon distributed worldwide and became the first game console in history to sell more than 100 million units. By comparison, Nintendo's SNES sold less than half that during its lifetime. As for the console Nintendo planned to make with Philips, that project was scrapped, although Philips retained the right to make Nintendo games for the Philips CDI, which failed miserably, mainly due to its awful games, like the infamous Zelda CDI games.
Go to Gamelon and find my father.
Great! I can't wait to bomb some Dodongos!
The PlayStation used CDs instead of cartridges, giving developers up to 650 megabytes of space, compared to about 15 megabytes on a cartridge. It was also cheaper, costing $299, while the CDI launched at a shocking $799. With better graphics, smoother gameplay, and titles like Ridge Racer, Crash Bandicoot, and Metal Gear Solid, the PlayStation became the go-to console. Even Final Fantasy left Nintendo to join PlayStation due to cartridge limitations, which was considered a major betrayal that crushed Nintendo fans and fueled the console wars. Sony's smart design choices, like a comfortable controller with shoulder buttons and the iconic square, triangle, circle, and cross symbols, helped set the PlayStation apart. In 2000, Sony released the PS1, a smaller, sleeker version, which cost just $99. In total, the PlayStation became a massive success with 102.5 million copies sold. Sony's PlayStation had not just entered the console market, they were dominating. Fun fact: the best-selling game on the PlayStation was Gran Turismo. It took 5 years to develop, and designer Kazunori Yamauchi estimated he only spent 4 days at home per year. The hard work paid off, though, as the game sold over 10.9 million copies worldwide. Bill Gates' company was no stranger to developing games before 2000, having released titles like Microsoft Flight Simulator and Age of Empires for Windows PCs. It wasn't until Sony announced the PlayStation 2 in 1999, with its ability to play CDs and DVDs, that Microsoft turned its attention to consoles. Microsoft, a software giant with no console experience, invested over $1 billion into the Xbox, facing skepticism from the industry and risking massive losses to challenge Sony's dominance. Worried that the PS2 would dominate home entertainment, Gates proposed a partnership where Sony would handle hardware and Microsoft would provide software for the PS2, but CEO Nobuyuki Idai turned him down. Microsoft also tried to buy Nintendo in 1999, only for Nintendo executives to reportedly laugh at the offer, a humiliating setback that pushed Microsoft to go it alone. So, they quickly set out to build a new console powered by its DirectX technology. Sony had a head start, but Microsoft was officially entering the game. Fun fact: Microsoft's new console project was codenamed Midway. a nod to the Battle of Midway in World War II, where American forces crushed the Japanese. If that's not a declaration of war, I don't know what is. The PlayStation 2 launched in Japan in March 2000 and reached America by October. Thanks to hit games like Tekken Tag Tournament and Madden NFL 2001, it quickly took off, selling nearly 25 million units before the Xbox even arrived in November 2001. Both consoles cost $299, but building the Xbox actually cost Microsoft about $425, resulting in a loss of around $4 billion over its lifetime. But this was a strategy to break into the gaming console market, and the Xbox was all about creating a name for itself. With its bulky, green-lit design, it gave gamers a new choice. If they could handle the Duke, the original Xbox controller was so huge that Seamus Blackley, one of the creators of the Xbox, joked, "There are some Japanese apartments that are only twice or 3 times the size of the Duke." He also said it was offensive in Japan. Microsoft responded with the smaller S controller, which eventually became the standard. Challenges aside, the original Xbox had some real strengths. Before launch, Microsoft bought a game studio called Bungie. Bungie adapted their Halo project into a first-person shooter that used the Xbox's powerful hardware. Master Chief quickly became a household name. Other standout games for Xbox included Forza Motorsport, Fable, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. The PlayStation 2 hit back with beloved titles like Ratchet & Clank, God of War, Jak and Daxter. It also had Grand Theft Auto: San Andreas, the best-selling game on the console with over 17 million copies sold. Grand Theft Auto 3 was another hit, appearing on both systems, though PS2 players got it 2 years earlier. Another advantage of the PS2 was that it played DVDs straight out of the box. One area where the Xbox clearly pulled ahead was online gaming. Xbox Live launched in 2002 and changed online play forever. It offered downloadable content, voice chat, and online achievements, while PlayStation lagged behind, with online multiplayer running on third-party servers that were the responsibility of individual game publishers. In 2004, Sony released a slimmer, lighter PlayStation 2 for $149, known as the PS2 Slim. It was quieter than the original and included a built-in Ethernet port. The original Xbox never received a Slim model. The Xbox put up a strong fight, selling around 24 million units, but the PlayStation 2 dominated the generation, selling over 160 million units and becoming the best-selling console of all time. Fun fact, do you know why the Xbox is green? According to Seamus Blackley, there was a guy at Microsoft who had a bunch of fancy markers that everyone kept stealing. The only color left was green. So the early Xbox designs were made with it. Microsoft made it official, and Blackley joked it was the green nobody wanted. Knowing they needed to land an early punch in round 2, Microsoft launched the Xbox 360 in November 2005. Almost a full year before Sony released the PlayStation 3. The 360 switched to a white design and sold for $399 for the Pro version with a 20GB hard drive, or $299 for the Core version with just a 64MB memory card. Sony arrived late and expensive, charging $499 for a 20GB PS3 and $599 for a 60GB model. This time, Sony seemed to make all the wrong moves. The PS3's boomerang-style prototype controller, shown at E3 2005, was refined into the 6-axis after feedback, while Xbox improved their controller design. The Xbox 360 had a strong early lineup, with Halo 3, Gears of War, Fable 2, and Mass Effect. Xbox Live Arcade also boosted indie hits like Castle Crashers. Meanwhile, the PS3 library took a while to warm up, but redeemed itself with cinematic single-player masterpieces like Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, Little Big Planet, and Demon's Souls. Both consoles also shared massive third-party hits like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Skyrim, and Grand Theft Auto V, which became some of the most popular games ever. Sony introduced PlayStation Network and made online play free, but it came with more lag and less stability compared to Xbox Live. The PS3's complex architecture made it harder for developers, while the Xbox 360 was easier to work with and landed more exclusives like Gears of War. The PS3 was more powerful overall and supported Blu-ray, but Xbox 360 players had to deal with the dreaded Ring of Death. It was not just a hardware flaw, it was a nightmare. Failure rates were as high as 54% early on. Microsoft spent over $1 billion fixing it, but their early lead in the market kept them afloat. In 2007, the Xbox 360 Elite launched with a 120GB hard drive and black finish. The 360S came in 2010 with a slimmer design and Wi-Fi, followed by the E model in 2013, which matched the style of the Xbox One. The PS3 overcame its rough start with price cuts, the Slim model, and a strong lineup of exclusives. Besides the Slim, Sony also launched the Super Slim in 2012 with a sliding disc tray and up to 500 gigabytes of storage. While Microsoft and Sony fought it out, Nintendo's Wii quietly crushed them both. Released in 2006, the Wii focused on motion controls and a wider audience. It sold over 100 million units, easily beating both the Xbox 360 and the PS3, even with much weaker hardware. The Wii's success made the PlayStation and Xbox jump into motion controls. Sony launched the PlayStation Move, and Microsoft introduced the Kinect, a hands-free motion tracker that was hyped as a revolutionary system, but often struggled to work due to inconsistent performance and a lack of compelling games. Neither came close to the Wii's success, with the PlayStation Move selling around 15 million units and the Kinect about 24 million. Considered by many to be the peak of the console war, the Xbox 360 won an early victory with a better launch, smoother development, and stronger online play. But the PlayStation 3 eventually caught up and even slightly passed the Xbox 360 in total sales, selling over 87 million units compared to the Xbox 360's 84 million. Fun fact, in 2011, a massive PlayStation Network hack exposed data from over 77 million accounts. It became one of the biggest data breaches in gaming history. Sony had to shut down the PlayStation Network for 23 days, meaning almost a full month without downloads or online gaming.
So it would be good to be able to reassure their customers, but they're doing the right thing right now in terms of taking their stuff offline, making it inaccessible, and fixing whatever was broken before it comes back online again.
The damage was huge. Sony faced lawsuits, investigations, and had to testify before the United States Congress. When PlayStation Network returned, Sony launched a welcome back package with free games, 30 days of PlayStation Plus, and rebuilt its security from the ground up. Just as Microsoft seemed to be gathering momentum, the pendulum swung back towards Sony in 2013. If the Xbox 360 versus PS3 was a close race, the Xbox One versus PS4 felt like Sony was speeding off in a sports car while Microsoft was stuck looking for their car keys. This time, the PlayStation 4 was first out of the gate, releasing on November 15, 2013, 1 week before the Xbox One. Priced at $399, it had a sleek, minimal design, but more importantly, it had learned from its mistakes with the PS3 and focused on performance and games. Sony dominated with exclusive hits like Bloodborne, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us Part 2, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Ghost of Tsushima. This era also saw the Battle Royale boom, with PUBG and Fortnite thriving on both consoles. The Xbox One, meanwhile, launched $100 more expensive, bundled with the Kinect 2.0, whether players wanted it or not. It was marketed more as an all-in-one entertainment system.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
Focusing on TV, sports, and voice commands instead of games.
TV. Sports.
The backlash was massive, especially after Microsoft's E3 2013 reveal, where they announced the Xbox One would require an always-online connection, block used games, and mandate the Kinect be connected at all times. The outrage was intensified when head of Xbox Don Matrix said, "We have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360. Not long after, he left Microsoft and was replaced by Phil Spencer. Microsoft realized their mistakes, quickly reversed their policies, and shifted focus back to gamers, with exclusives like Halo 5, Guardians, Gears 4 and 5, Sunset Overdrive, and Sea of Thieves. It was a good recovery, but they still did not have the heavy hitters that PlayStation had. In a change of events, the PS4, with its slightly more powerful GPU, was seen as easier for developers to work with. Backward compatibility with the Xbox 360 and OG Xbox was a lifesaver for Xbox fans, and the introduction of Game Pass in 2017 helped restore some faith, giving players access to a huge library of games for a monthly fee. Both consoles went through a few glow-ups during their lifespan, with slimmer designs, stronger hardware, and even a push into 4K gaming. The PS4 Slim was a better-looking, more efficient PlayStation, while the PS4 Pro supported 4K resolution and ran games more smoothly with a faster processor. The Xbox One S was a big step up from the original model. It added 4K video streaming and could play Ultra HD Blu-rays. The Xbox One X was even stronger, becoming the most powerful console of the generation and could run many games in true native 4K. But the damage was already done. The PlayStation 4 dominated the gaming scene, selling over 117 million units, compared to around 58 million for the Xbox One. Microsoft even stopped reporting Xbox One sales publicly after a while. That's how rough it got. Fun fact, Microsoft's plan to block used games made gamers furious. Sony jumped at the chance and roasted Microsoft with a short video called How to Share Games on PS4, where they simply handed a disc to a friend.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
Microsoft learned from their mistakes and returned with the Xbox Series X and S, released on November 10, 2020. The Series X launched at $499, while the smaller, digital-only Series S came in at $299. Sony followed 2 days later with the PlayStation 5, priced at $499 for the standard model and $399 for the digital edition. While Xbox focused on building a connected experience across different platforms, backward compatibility, and the all-important Game Pass, the PlayStation 5 made power, speed, and next-gen exclusives its main focus. Both consoles launched during the pandemic, which meant that despite huge demand, supply shortages hit hard. For months, getting a PS5 or Series X felt almost impossible. Scalpers bought up most of the stock within seconds, and even a year later, many gamers were still stuck refreshing websites, hoping to get lucky. For those lucky enough to grab a PS5, it delivered. Games like Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, Ragnarok, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, and Final Fantasy XVI showed off what the PS5 could do. Astro's Playroom, bundled with every console, also did a great job showing off the new DualSense controller with its touchpad, haptic feedback, and adaptive triggers. Astro fans were treated again in 2024 with the release of Astro Bot, which went on to win Game of the Year, proving the little robot is now one of PlayStation's biggest stars. Xbox gamers had plenty to look forward to as well. Microsoft acquired Bethesda in 2020 and Activision Blizzard in 2023, bringing Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, and Diablo under Team Green. There were also exclusives like Halo Infinite, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Forza Horizon 5. The Xbox Series X and S offer full backward compatibility all the way back to the original Xbox, while the PS5 only supports PS4 games. Xbox Cloud Gaming lets players stream games to their phones or browsers, and Smart Delivery automatically upgrades games to next-gen versions. Love it or hate it, subscriptions are now a big part of gaming. PlayStation owners can choose between different PS Plus tiers, while Xbox players get access to hundreds of games through Xbox Game Pass. One area where the PS5 pulls ahead is VR. The PSVR 2, built for the PS5, is a big upgrade over the original, offering full VR experiences for games like No Man's Sky. Resident Evil Village, Gran Turismo 7, and Horizon Call of the Mountain. The PS5 has also been updated with a slim version, about 20% lighter and 30% smaller than the launch model. In November 2024, Sony released the PS5 Pro with a larger GPU, faster memory, and better ray tracing for smoother 4K gaming at 60 frames per second. The $699 price, though, sparked a lot of controversy. Meanwhile, the Xbox Series S remains the smallest Xbox ever made, and a Series X refresh is rumored to be on the way. Right now, the PS5 is winning the sales race, with around 75 million units sold, compared to about 30 million for the Series X and S. Xbox Game Pass has also grown to 34 million subscribers as of February 2024, with Microsoft aiming to pass 100 million by 2030. Fun fact: the console war as we know it could be over already. While Sony and Nintendo stick to traditional consoles, Microsoft is building a gaming empire in the cloud, aiming to become the Netflix of gaming. As part of their Xbox Everywhere plan, Microsoft is moving Xbox games onto more platforms, even PlayStation. This already happened with Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, and it could soon include former exclusives like Halo. It could mean Microsoft moves away from hardware and returns to its roots as a software giant. If you enjoyed this, check out the evolution of Nintendo, evolution of Xbox, and evolution of PlayStation. Mario vs. Sonic is already live if you want more action, and even more evolutions are coming soon.